This is our second program on the book of Certitude. To them that are endowed with understanding, it is clear and manifest that when the fire of the love of Jesus consumed the veils of Jewish limitations, and his authority was made apparent and partially enforced, he, the revealer of the unseen beauty, addressed one day his disciples, referring to his passing and kindling in their hearts the fire of bereavement, said unto them, I go away and come again unto you. And in another place he said, I go, and another will come, who will tell you all that I have not told you, and will fulfill all that I have said. Both these sayings have but one meaning, and were you to ponder upon the manifestations of the unity of God with divine insight. Every discerning observer will recognize that in this dispensation of the Quran, both the book and the cause of Jesus were confirmed. As to the matter of names, Muhammad himself declared, I am Jesus. Well, in the role of Jesus, perhaps, the real role of Jesus. He recognized the truth of the signs, prophecies, and words of Jesus, and testified that they were all of God. In this sense, neither the person of Jesus nor his writings hath differed from that of Muhammad and of his holy book, inasmuch as both have championed the cause of God, uttered his praise, and revealed his commandments. Thus it is that Jesus himself declared, I go away and come again unto you. Consider the sun. Were it to say now, I am the sun of yesterday, it would speak the truth, and should it, bearing the sequence of time in mind, claim to be other than that sun, it still would speak the truth. In like manner, if it be said that all the days are but one and the same, it is correct and true, and if it be said with respect to their particular names and designations that they differ, that again is true. For though they are the same, yet one doth recognize in each a separate designation, a specific attribute, a particular character. Conceive accordingly the distinction, variation, and unity characteristic of the various manifestations of holiness, that thou mayest comprehend the allusions made by the Creator of all names and attributes to the mysteries of distinction and unity, and discover the answer to thy question as to why the everlasting beauty should have, at sundry times, called himself by different names and titles. Afterwards, the companions and disciples of Jesus asked him concerning those signs that must needs signalize the return of his manifestation. When they asked, shall these things be? Several times they questioned that peerless beauty, and every time he made reply. He set forth a special sign that should herald the advent of the promised dispensation. To this testify the records of the four Gospels. This wronged one will cite but one of these instances, thus conferring upon mankind, for the sake of God, such bounties as are yet concealed with the treasury of the hidden and sacred tree, that haply mortal men may not remain deprived of their share of the immortal fruit, and attain to a dewdrop of the waters of everlasting life, which from Baghdad, the abode of peace, are being vouchsafed unto all mankind. We ask neither meed nor reward. We nourish your souls for the sake of God. We seek from you neither recompense nor thanks. See Al-Quran, Surah 76, 8, 9, and it's interesting, that's when my stomach decides to rumble. We nourish. This is the food that confers everlasting life upon the pure in heart and the illumined in spirit. This is the bread of which it is said, Lord, send down upon us thy bread from heaven. And this bread shall never be withheld from them that deserve it, nor can it ever be exhausted. It groweth everlastingly from the tree of grace. It descendeth at all seasons from the heaven of justice and mercy, even as he saith, See thou not to what God likeneth a good word, to a good tree, its root firmly fixed, and its branches reaching unto heaven, yielding its fruit in all seasons. See Al-Quran, Surah 14, 8-24, and previously send down thy bread from heaven, from Surah 5, 8, 117. Oh, the pity that man should deprive himself of this goodly gift, this imperishable bounty, this everlasting life. It behooveth him to prize this food that cometh from heaven, that perchance, through the wondrous favors of the Son of Truth, the dead may be brought to life, and withered souls may be quickened by the infinite Spirit. Make haste, O my brother, that while there is yet time, our lips may taste of the immortal draught, for the breeze of life, now blowing from the city of the well-beloved, cannot last, and the streaming river of holy utterance must needs be stilled, and the portals of the Ridvan cannot remain forever open. The day will surely come when the nightingale of paradise will have winged its flight away from its earthly abode unto its heavenly nest. Then will its melody be heard no more, and the beauty of the rose cease to shine. Seize the time, therefore, ere the glory of the divine springtime hath spent itself, and the bird of eternity ceased to warble its melody, that by inner hearing may not be deprived of hearkening unto its call. This is my counsel unto thee, and unto the beloved of God. Whosoever wisheth, let him turn thereunto. Whosoever wisheth, let him turn away. God verily is independent of him, and of that which he may see and witness. These are the melodies sung by Jesus, Son of Mary, in accents of majestic power in the Ridvan of the Gospel, revealing those signs that must needs herald the advent of manifestation after him. In the first Gospel, according to Matthew, it is recorded, and when they asked Jesus concerning the signs of his coming, he said unto them, immediately after the oppression of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the earth shall be shaken, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. There's a Greek word for oppression used, thlipsis, and it also means pressure, which appears the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of trumpet. And from Matthew 24, 29 through 31, rendered into the Persian tongue, the purport of these words is as follows. When the oppression and afflictions that are to befall mankind will have come to pass, then shall the sun be withheld from shining, the moon from giving light, and the stars of heaven shall fall upon the earth, and the pillars of the earth shall quake. At that time the signs of the Son of Man shall appear in the heaven, that is, the promised beauty and substance of life shall, when these signs have appeared, step forth out of the realm of the invisible into the visible world. And he saith, at that time all the peoples and kindreds that dwell on earth shall bewail and lament, and they shall see that divine beauty coming from heaven, riding upon the clouds with power, grandeur, and magnificence, sending his angels with a great sound of trumpet. Similarly, in the three other Gospels, according to Luke, Mark, and John, the same statements are recorded, as we have referred at length to these in our tablets, revealed in the Arabic tongue. We have made no mention of them in these pages, and we have confined ourselves to but one reference, inasmuch as the Christian divines have failed to apprehend the meaning of these words, and did not recognize their object and purpose, and have clung to the literal interpretation of the words of Jesus. They therefore became deprived of the streaming grace of the Mohammedan revelation and its showering bounties. The ignorant among the Christian community, following the example of the leaders of their faith, were likewise prevented from beholding the beauty of the King of Glory. inasmuch as those signs which were to accompany the dawn of the sun of the Mohammedan dispensation did not actually come to pass. Thus ages have passed and centuries rolled away, and that most pure spirit hath repaired unto the retreats of its ancient sovereignty. Well, things have kind of retreated because people got power and they stepped away from religion, but you gotta admit, things were pretty messed up in Arabia before, and certain things are now just being, certain ethics are now just being made known in the West as something acceptable. Certain science claims were thought not to be true until we had the evidence in my father's lifetime, and some stuff even in my lifetime. So if you don't know, don't say, oh, it's proven wrong. It's like, it's not proven wrong. What are you talking about? Once more hath the eternal Spirit breathed into the mystic trumpet and caused the dead to speed out of their sepulchres of heedlessness and error unto the realm of guidance and grace. And yet that expectant community still crieth out, when shall these things be? When shall the promised one, the object of our expectation, be made manifest, that we may arise for the triumph of his cause, and that we may sacrifice our substance for his sake, and that we may offer up our lives in his path? In like manner have such false imaginings caused other communities to stray from the Kauthar, abundance, of the infinite mercy of providence, and to be busied with their own idle thoughts. Islam talks about, in a much clearer way than biblical Zionism, which is not to be confused with blood and soil Zionism, of setting a good example, is you needed the community. Just like a lot of Orthodox Jews don't approve of Israel, because where is the rising of the piousness of the Jewish people to lead the world by example? It's not there. Oh, well, it's there in some aspects of media, right? But as far as real human value, no. And the Muslims looking to the past glory days, you got to do your own hero deeds. Besides this passage, there is yet another verse in the Gospel, wherein he saith, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. From Luke 21, verse 33. Thus, it is that the adherents of Jesus maintain that the law of the gospel shall never be annulled, and that whensoever the promised beauty is made manifest, and all the signs are revealed, he must needs reaffirm and reestablish the law proclaimed in the gospel, the real law, so that there may remain in the world no faith but his faith. Yeah, none of these ethnic faiths. This is their fundamental belief, and their conviction is such that were a person to be made manifest with all the promised signs and to promulgate that which is contrary to the letter of the law of the gospel, they must assuredly renounce him, refuse to submit to his law, declare him an infidel, and laugh him to scorn. This is proved by that which came to pass. And when the son of the Mohammedan revelation was revealed, had they sought with a humble mind from the manifestations of God in every dispensation the true meaning of these words revealed in the sacred books, words the misapprehension of which hath caused men to be deprived of the recognition of the Sidratul Muntaha, the ultimate purpose, well, the low tree, the most bountiful tree, but they surely would have been guided to the light of the Son of Truth, and would have discovered the mysteries of the divine knowledge and wisdom. Now, the lote tree, the earthly lote tree, is something that they washed dead bodies with. The servant will now share with thee a dewdrop out of the fathomless ocean of the truths treasured in these holy words, that haply discerning hearts may comprehend all the allusions and the implications of the utterances of the manifestations of holiness, so that the overpowering majesty of the Word of God may not prevent them from attaining unto the ocean of his names and attributes, nor deprive them of recognizing the lamp of God, which is the seat of the revelation of his glorified essence. As to the words immediately after the oppression of those days, they refer to the time when men shall become oppressed and afflicted, the time when the lingering traces of the Son of Truth and the fruit of the tree of knowledge and the wisdom have vanished from the midst of men, when the reins of mankind will have fallen into the grasp of the foolish and the ignorant, when the portals of divine unity and understanding at essential and highest purpose in creation will have been closed, when certain knowledge will have given way to idle fancy, and corruption will have usurped the station of righteousness, such a condition as this is witnessed in this day, when the reins of every community will have fallen into the grasp of foolish leaders who lead after their own whims and desire. And as long as that doesn't happen in the middle of the night, I'm cool. On their tongue, the mention of God hath become an empty name. You know, that sound that I'm sure you heard. In their midst is holy word, a dead letter. Such is the sway of their desires, that the lamp of consciousness and reason hath been quenched in their hearts, and this, although the fingers of divine power have been unlocked, the portals of the knowledge of God, and the light of divine knowledge and heavenly grace hath illumined and inspired the essence of all created things in such wise that in each and everything a door of knowledge hath been opened, and within every atom traces of the sun hath been made manifest. And yet, in spite of all these manifold revelations of divine knowledge which hath encompassed the world, they still vainly imagine the door of knowledge to be closed, and the showers of mercy to be stilled. Clinging unto idle fancy, they have strayed far from the Ratul Vuthqa of divine knowledge. Their hearts seem not to be inclined to knowledge, and the door thereof, neither do they think of its manifestations, inasmuch as in idle fancy they have bound the door that leadeth unto earthly riches, whereas the manifestation of the revealer of knowledge they find not, but the call to self-sacrifice. They therefore naturally hold fast unto the former, and flee from the latter, though they recognize in their hearts the law of God to be one and the same, yet from every direction they issue a new command, and in every season proclaim a fresh decree. And that's not the dispensationalism of God. No two are found to agree on one and the same law, for they seek no God but their own desire, and tread no path but the path of error. In leadership they have recognized the ultimate object of their endeavor, and account pride and haughtiness as the highest attainments of their heart's desire. They have placed their sordid machinations above the divine decree, have renounced resignation unto the will of God, busied themselves with selfish calculation, and walked in the way of the hypocrite.